I'm recording now. So now we are doing security, and okay. So I just want to show something on. I want to show you something on. So I kind of like jotted down some things. Okay, so let me just open Evernote. So I kind of, because the thing is security, implementing ASP.NET Security and web tokens, there's a whole lot. There are two ways you can use Auth0. Now Auth0 is a login service like for your APIs. So you can use that, but I didn't want to use that because it encapsulates a whole lot of things that happen under the hood. So I just want to show you guys firsthand how it works. So kind of like so just want to, I noted some stuff. So I just kind of documented like series of steps because it's a whole lot that you have to do. Nothing that we can handle, sure. But before that, let's just look at basic cookie authentication before we now do JSON web tokens. So let me just go to security and identity. Yeah. So let's go to authentication. Okay. So now what we need to do now is we need to, in our configure services, we need to add the authentication services. So that's the first thing we have to do. Then okay, so we need to configure. So there's this thing we need to add to our DB context after we call use options.use SQL Server and all these guys. I think is it okay, yes. So we need to add use services that add default identity. So that's one of the things we're meant to do. So let me just go to where's Visual Studio? Yeah. Start up the CS. Let me close everything. Close all. Close all. Close all. Close all. Okay, so save. So let me go to startup.cs. Yes. So in configure services, so we need to add services that add identity. So let's add that. So here we can do that here. Let's say can say services add identity. Okay. It's not saying it here. I mean, where is the error? So it says okay, it requires two arguments. So the user type and the role type. So we have let me just show you guys the definition. Services that add identity, yeah. So if you see the method definition, it's a generic method that has two generic types, the user type and the role type. So now in identity, there's we have something called roles, we have something called claims. So a role is, okay, first let me explain. Okay, let me explain role and claims. A role is like, let's say, for example, in an organization now, you have um, you have admin, you have the, or let's say, in an IT department, you have um, the server administrator, you have the how will I put it now? You just have all those roles, like you have the admin, you have the super admin, if you get stuff like that. Okay. So roles are just, they are used to identify um, um, access levels, access levels. So that's what you use roles to identify. And you also use it to identify access levels, tell you how, like, what privileges does this person with this access level have? What can you do? You get. So that's what rules are. But claims talks about um, the how will I put it now? Claims is like, you have a driver license, you have your name, phone number, this, that, date of birth, nationality. Those things are called claims. They are what are used to, what data that describes who you are. Those are your claims, you get. So that's the difference between roles and claims. Now, authentication and authorization. What's the difference? Authentication, what authentication does is it shows you, it checks if someone has, how will I explain now? If someone has access to a particular thing, let's say to a building, for example, if you have access to that building, to enter the building, that's authentication. Let's say, for example, now, this is an organization, and before you enter the building now, they say you have to present your ID card. You get. That's authentication. When you present it, say, okay, valid, you can go in. Yeah, you're authenticated. Authorization now is, okay, is this person, does he have the right to enter this office? Fine, he has entered the building. You can see that he can enter the building. But can he enter the MD's office? That's authorization. So he does not have the authorization, only the MD and the MD's assistant. And now even the MD now has his own authorization that the assistant will not have. Can you open safe? Assistant does not have that. Only the MD has the authorization. So that's authorization. So that's the difference. So just the services that had identity, the user type and the role type. So before we add this, let's specify our user type. So we need to go to models, not even models, entities. Go to data. I hope it's recording. New share. Okay, is this one that is recording currently? Okay, so we need to go to domain data rather, and entities. So in our entities now, we need to create our user entities. So add new file. We call it user.cs. Do we call it user or base user? I like calling it. Okay, let's call it user. Okay, user.cs. Maybe if there's any need to change it, we'll know. So user.cs, we'll create it. So can say user extends identity. The identity user, there's a, so yeah, so the identity user. So we'll just add reference to Microsoft, the extensions, the identity.stores.dll. So identity user of the type of the user that we want, the type of the key for that user entity. So it can be, by default, it gives you a string key, which is a GUID. GUID is like a string of random numbers, random numbers and maybe letters. So it can gives you that by default, but you can now customize your user key to be anything you want. It can be, for us, we are using long, right? So we are using long. So these are user model. Let's enter this identity user and see what it has to offer us. Can't even enter it. This is what I miss in Windows system. This is Visual Studio for Mac. But let's look at identity user online. Identity user. So it's a new identity user. Let's look at the class, the documentation of the identity user class. Okay, so the identity user class has, let me look for the properties it has. Okay, let me check this guy. Constructors. So these are the properties it has. So you have the claims, the access field count, concurrency stamp, email, the ID, lockout enabled, lockout end, logins. That is user logins, account navigation properties. So password hash, phone number. So it provides all this to you by default. The identity user, it provides you all this by default. So do you have first name and last name? No, you don't have first name and last name. So maybe you cannot provide first name and last name. But for user, we don't even need first name and last name. First name and last name is now something that will not be specific to maybe student or teacher or something. You understand? So we can just, for now, we can just leave it as this. I don't know if this screen is showing. Let's stop on. I don't know if this screen is showing. So we can just leave this like this for now. Then our role type. So let's create a new role. Okay. Let's see. You know what? Why don't let me rename this to base user so that just in case we may still want to base user. Let me refactor. Name. Base user. Let's name it base user. Okay. So they change the name of the file here. So let's add base rows. Base rows. New file. Base row. Right. So which class is it? Okay, identity row. So just do base row.cs. So these are base rows should extend from identity to SC using Microsoft ASP.NET Core identity. So the key also for our row will be long, right? So we have base row. So this one stores our rows. our identity role. So let's see what base role has. So base role should have stuff like um, where's identity role? Identity role rather. So identity role has the users for that role, the ID, concurrency stamp, the name of the role, the normalized name of the role, and claims in the role. That is, for this role, these are the things the person has should get for that role. So yeah, so that's what role has. I think it's the same thing with this one also. Yeah. So that's just that role. So so we have base role, we have base user. So what else do we need? I think that's all. So let's go back to startup.cs and can now do our services dot add identity. Then it takes two generic parameters, the user type and the role type. So say base user, and the base role. And then it's okay. So he also takes a set of action from let's see the documentation. So yeah, okay. So we just add default identity and we don't need to pass in any setup action. Then there's this thing we also need to add, that is add entity framework stores. So now what that add entity framework stores does that it now adds those our identity classes inside, it adds them to entity framework such that when we now update our database, when we run migration and update DB, we can now see our identity entities, the user, the role, user roles, all these guys, these classes, user roles, user role, claim, user store. Yeah. So we'll now see all those entities, all those tables. You see them at the end of everything when we now run our update database. So I just want to teach you guys basic identity then before we do the token. That's if there's time. So yeah, so we just add entity framework stores so that we'll be able to when we update database, we'll be able to see those entities in our database. So the add identity dot add entity framework stores. Yeah, the generic. Yeah, the context. So the learning data context. Yeah. So okay. So in the configure method, what we now need to do is we now need to add this app.use authentication. So it's one thing to register the service. It's another thing to now add the authentication middleware you get. So and that's what we'll do in this configure. I told you about the configure that the way we add our configurations within that configure method is the way they are being executed in the execution pipeline, the way the pipeline exactly. So that's how each of those middlewares will be executed. So it's like here now, it therefore goes and uses HTTPS redirection to redirect from HTTP to HTTPS API, then to use so here now they're using static files. So it uses static files after redirecting. It will load the static files, then cookie policy to load your cookie policies, then use authentication then before it will now use, because if you loaded use MVC before use authentication, that means you can go to a controller even if you are not authenticated. You get. So add that app.use authentication. So just come down here. So app.use authentication. Yeah. So
that use MVC will be the last.
Is the last, yes. So I also want to, let's see this customizing identity. So that I'll just show you. Okay, so this is the identity model, yes, that I was talking about. So you have user, you have row, you have user claim, you have user token, you have user login, you have row claim, and you have user row. So all these things are what use identity. What was that method again in our configures? Add entity framework stores. These are the entities that you add to your DB. You get. So user represents the user of the application. The row, that is the rows, various rows. I explain rows. User claim, that is I explain what claim is, like what that user has. She gets. Like in your ID card now, you have your first name, your last name, your date of birth, all those things you have. That's your user claim. This thing. So basically, what we need to do after adding the thing in startup is to now do that our configuration, where because I said by default the ID is string, but we want it to be long. We want the ID to be long. So for us to now get that long value, what we will now do is in our DB context. Again, so the DB context will now look something like this. This application context, it will now extend, instead of extending DB context, our data context, instead of extending DB context, it will extend identity DB context. Sure you get. So it will pass the user and the type, which is for our case is long, pass the user the row also. So let's go and do that now. Let's go to our data context. Learn data context. So instead of extending DB context, we'll now extend identity DB context. Let's see what we have to import. So we'll add the reference to identity core.dlf. So we'll now pass the user, the row, and the key. So let's pass in the user, base user, the row as base, and the key that will be long. So this one like this, it will change the key from being a string to long. So we now have a long primary key value, which we are using already in our DB. That's the convention that we're using long. So I don't know, this thing showing yellow line, but same parameter name is not something that is compulsory, but we can just change it just for this, so that to cool down. Yeah, so after that, what else do we need to do? So we've configured our data context. We've configured our data context. We've added it to our services, and we've done we've added to our services, and we've done we've added it to configure methods. Yeah. So another thing we can do is okay. So Yeah, so in configure services, we did services to add identity, the identity framework stores. So so what's next now? I think that's all really that's all we have to do to start using identity. So that's all we have to do. So what we need to do now is I on the record. Yeah. Okay, I pre-record well, Sha. So I do. So mm, so so what we need to do now is we need to add um, navigation properties for these guys. But okay, let's leave that for now. Let's leave that for now. What we need to do now is just we can try to run migration and see if it does the migration. So let's go to visual entity visual long. Okay. So let's go to, we'll have to drop the database first. So I don't know why Visual Studio 2019 doesn't have terminal.
Doesn't
Have terminal.
Oh,
console. Mac rather. View conversion tools, custom tool, files, edit, view. It should be in view. Line messages for you. Okay, so I'll just use package manager. I'll use .NET TF in console. I'll use NT Framework console, the console app, what do you call it? EF commands. So yeah, is it? Okay. So let's see into the so let's see into the documents. Okay. /projects / Vertebra personal. CD SCD into personal. So let's be into our project e-learning app. So yeah. Now what we need to do is we need to seed into the data aspect of it. Learning app.data. So now what we need to do is .NET EF. Let's see. Yeah. So we can now do -help .NET EF -help. Let's see the commands. So we have database commands. So we can run database command .NET EF database -help. Okay. So may need to drop the database.
Right.
So because we want to, or do we need to? We may not even need to, funny enough. So we don't even need to. So we can just do, let's do a migration to .NET EF, let's say migration. migrations dash help. Okay, so let's add a new migration. So we just do .NET. First, let me save this guy. I'll save all. Okay, so we do .NET EF migrations. Add. Let's see. Help. So for adding migration, all we need to specify is the name of the migration. Yeah. So the .NET EF migrations, the name of the migration, we can now say added identity entities. This the name of the migration should actually have entities. Let's just separate them with underscore. Added identity entities. So we do a verbose -v. Okay, we run this. Let's see. Okay, it says unrecognized command. .NET EF migrations. Oh, add. Okay, migrations add. Yeah, so this should do it now. Let's see. Okay. So could not load file or assembly Microsoft extensions identity.core. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to get this assembly Microsoft extensions identity.core. So you need to in NuGet. You need to get it from NuGet. So in fact they should specify it here. The packages and it said package manager console. Okay, said this one is talking of migrations. Let's see introduction to identity. Okay, so where's the this one? They didn't even tell us the packages. They didn't tell us the packages. Let's see, add custom user data. Okay. They didn't tell us the packages here too. Don't know why they don't show us the packages. No packages. But anyway, let's add that Microsoft.identity.core that was shown to us on the. So where is it? Where's that terminal now? So we just need to add this NuGet Microsoft extensions identity.core version 2.1. Version 2.1.1. So let's just do solution. Maybe we'll add it to. Let's add it to API. We add it to API. Do we add it to? Let's add it to data. Let's add it to data. So let's add NuGet package. So in NuGet package, let's just search for that package. Microsoft extensions identity.core. Okay.
What package is found?
Says no package is found.
Microsoft
Extensions identity
slash
dot core dot extensions dot identity dot core.
identity.
No identity. Link ID Microsoft dot identity dot extensions dot identity dot core.
That's a synonym.
Yeah, so we'll just add the package. My own .NET Framework version is 2.1.1. So we'll just add the package. Yeah, you need to be connected to the internet.
I was connected.
Okay. So it's going to give us this set of this thing. So we'll just accept. So let's see what happens. So it has added it. So let's try that command again. Let's try the command. Let's see what happens. So it says the entity type identity user login long requires a primary key to be defined. Okay. Requires a primary key to be defined. So let's see what this error is talking about. So let's see, we can just come here and check. So it says it requires a primary key to be defined. So okay. So let's try and see if this works. Base dot on model creating builder. So we code base on model creating method. Let's try and execute it again. So let's see if it works or if it still tells us the same thing. Yeah, so it has added the migrations now. So it has added migrations. So now what we can now do is we'll now try to let's see the migrations. Let's see migrations first. Let's see what it created for us. So if we go to migrations, so added identity entities. Let's see it. So it added the roles, it added the users, it added the role claims, it added the user claims, it added the user logins and user roles and user tokens. So it added all those gets. So we have all those identity entities already. So what we can now do is we can now make can now run migration. So let's check here. You can now see okay. Is it configure identity? No, configure identity. Customize identity. Yeah. So for us to migrate, we can just update the database. Say yeah. So I think what we just need to do is update database, and I was thinking maybe we need to add the models, the user and the role models that we created. But let's just update database. So .NET, yeah. What's that command to update database again? Okay, database. .NET database. See database updates. Updates. Let me just do here. So we have updates, yeah. So database updates. Let's see. So let's see if you update the database with those models. Okay, so it says it's done. So let's go check our DB. So let's just refresh the DB. If we refresh it, let's see what tables. So now we have our identity tables. Okay. Yeah. So we now have our identity models in DB. So we have the ASP.NET row claims, rows, user claims, user logins, user roles, user tokens. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it. So what we need to do now is we now need to start doing our service. So let's go to domain, services, auth service. So our auth service, we now need to start specifying the sign in, sign up stuff. So let's do for sign up. So let's say sign up. So what we need to do is we need to specify some fields. Let's see. Okay. No, let me just go to the documentation. Documentation is always my friend. So let's see. Yeah. Okay. So let's now do the sign up and other stuff. Yeah. So we need to create let me see, let me check this one. Execute model. Okay. Scaffold identity. I'll just check where implemented sign up. Okay. So for sign up, let me just implement what I can implement. So let's say public sign up should return the user. So let's say is user. This user sign up. Right. And sign up will collect sign up will collect, what will you collect again? Collects credentials. So we'll create a credential model. Credential. So create this guy as a model. So let's go to our, it will be a request model. So instead of saying credential, let's just say sign up request. Now let's create sign up requests.
We are now.
The model, yeah.
The entity now.
For sign up requests. So not entities, but the request model. So you get. So we'll add a new file. This sign up request is what they are going to send. The user of our API will send to us.
The data.
So it's a request model. Yeah.
Inside domain. So it's a service.
Sign up request. Okay, so these are sign up requests we take. Let's see what user has, ASP.NET users. So let's see. Let me just see the fields, the columns it has. Okay, so it has wow, lots of columns. So it has ID, username, email, password. So we'll provide they'll send us username and email, and there's password. Okay, they'll send us password, phone number. Okay, so they should send us username, email, password, and phone number, right? So this will be prop.
String.
Okay, yeah. Username, so string. Username. Prop. String. Should be small string. I like using the reference type and the value type. So email. This one should be string. Username, email, and prop. String. Password. string, phone number. Yeah. So this is what our sign up is going to get. So okay, now let's
Confirm
see.
password.
We need to know before confirm password. We also need to know something.
Sorry, is there sign in or sign up? Sign up, right? What you do this now? You want to just do it now? The model.
The model.
Request model.
The request.
You
Sign up.
not sign
request.
in.
Sign up request. Yeah. So, username, email, password, and phone number. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we'll now go to let's close this basis and base rules. So if you can see this ID, let's see what type it is. How you can see the data type of this guy? How can we even see the how can we see the definition of the DB now? Let's see indices. Okay, we're going. Okay, so trying to see how I want to show you the value of this ID now, so that you see that it is long. So, but anyway, let's continue. Assuming it was a Microsoft MS SQL Management Studio. So maybe we'll just finish this sign up. Where was I now? Okay, so let me import this sign up request. Import it. Yeah. Sign up request. So just return. Let's just go. How to implement it. Okay. So now I want to do something. Okay, what do I want to do now? I don't know what I want to do. Okay, so let's create an interface for this out service that we can use to inject it. You get. So let's come here. So and say interfaces I auth service, add new file, I auth service
class
interface. So these are I auth service. We now have auth service. So we now have this guy as one of the method definitions. So let's put this guy. Yeah. Bring this guy in. Bring this guy in. Yeah. So that this guy will now implement I auth service. I auth service. Bring it in. Right? Yeah. So yeah. So what we can now do is for this sign up, you can now say what we're now going to do is we'll need to inject user manager into our auth service. Okay, so that we can make use of user manager related functionalities that it has to offer. So let's just do that. So we now have user manager. Let's see. Yeah, so bring in this place, user manager. The type of user is base user. Base user. User manager, base user, user manager. right? So just come initialize the field, just like using underscores for my private field. So yeah. So that here we can now say something like underscore user manager dot. Now see what all that user manager has to offer. We have change, confirm, where's the? We have access field async, add claim async, add login async, add password async, um, change email, change password, and all those things. So where is add user? Is there an add user or create user or something? So there's find by ID, find by name. Okay, there's get username, get roles, remove for roles, set phone number, lots of methods. Can't really check all of them. It has, you should have create user, m6 dots. So it has create async. So let's see, create. So it says create the specified user in the backend store with no password as an asynchronous operation. So this one creates user with no password, and we don't want to be doing that. So this one will create with a user with password. The second overload will create a user in backend store with given password. You get. So what we need to do is we need to say the user base user, the base user I want to create. So first things first, we need to map our sign up request. So we'll say user, or let's say base user equals to mapper. So this is what we'll now bring in auto mapper. We'll say imapper. In auto mapper, mapper. Create a field for it. So yeah. So this way auto mapper will come in. We now say mapper dot map. Right? So mapper dot map. The source, what's the source and what's the destination? So the source is we're mapping from sign up request. We are mapping to base user. What's happening? It's not saying base user. Base user. Then app entity, the base user. So what is it saying? It says okay, base user. Then we'll now pass in the source object. You get. So that will be sign up request. Yeah. So now Automapper will just help us map these guys. So, but now we need to do, let's go to mapping profiles and do our mapping. So we want to map from sign up request to base user. So let's go to map Automapper profiles. So sign up request to base user. And so we can say create map, sign up request, base user, dot for member, the destination, that's the base user, destination dot, it's not bringing out, right? But base user extends identity user, so we are meant to have access to identity user related stuff. Okay. So let's see hot service. Let's see this user. So let me just check. Let me check out something. User. Wow. So we are actually meant to have access to identity users properties, but don't know why. Okay, so let's check the documentation. And return your, okay. So new identity user. Okay, so the thing is, for that base user, it's not seeing so I just want us to do this sign up. Okay, so but now there's a slight problem, because the base model now that we have is not picking those user properties. Base user rather, it's not picking user properties, so just have to okay. So another thing we can do, is user notification. Okay. Let me check something. Okay. Let's see, okay. Let's see. This one is logging. So okay. Okay, let me see. Let me go back to mapping profiles. Let me go back to mapping profiles. So if I say identity user, so let's use identity user to map it. So if you use identity user, use identity user of long, right? Yeah. Okay. So if destination dot, so now it gets us all the identity user properties. So so what we can do is we can now say for the email, if it should map email username. Let me see. Password hash. So okay. For this mapping may not be needed. So let's go back to our service. So
what we're doing is strictly authentication.
Yeah, strictly authentication.
I'll finish it there.
It's still part of API. Still part of API. So we can just call user manager create async, and what will pass is the base user. So we can just say base user equals to new base user. Oh, so we even have access to these guys. Why wasn't it now showing before? This guy is funny. So okay, but base user. Okay. So apparently we have access to this. Is it recorded? So apparently we have access to these guys. So, but I don't know why it wasn't showing before. We actually have access to email, ID, phone number, password hash, and all those things. So, but before we can do this, we need to do something else. So, we need to do something. We need to add an interface called iPassword hasher. Password hasher.
What does it do?
Password hasher. Do we need this? Let me see. No, we do not even need this because it will automatically, the user manager will automatically generate a hash for us. So all we just need to set is the username and the password. No, not even password. The username and the email. Yeah. So all we need to do, we need email. We need to set email, and where's username? Username, yeah, and phone number also because we're passing phone number. So username, email, phone number. But I wonder why it's not even when we try to map it, it's not mapping. So okay, let me see. We can try again. Username, email, phone number. We'll try to map it again.
Sign up request.
Yes. So let me try to map it again. Destination D. So let me convert this back to base user and see base user. Right. So D dot, and now it's bringing it back. Now may we not see stupid ID. I see stupid ID. Before I put it on YouTube and Microsoft, they will not find me. So and I don't know why it wasn't showing it before. I was wondering why is it not showing the properties for base user and for the identity user from base user. So we can now say for member the dot do we even need to do any mapping? You know what, for now let's comment this mapping. Then if it gives an error while mapping, we can now say okay, let's come and form our own mapping profile for the base user mapping. So for now, just in auth service. So what we can just do is we just try to map it by default like that. Yes, so as our entities based user. Then another thing we can do is now say create async based user. Right? We'll await this guy, await, and then save created user calls. So this created user is okay, this guy is giving us error. Okay, so we need to make this an async task, async. So automatically it's going to change our interface. So we import task using system.training.task. We go to the IOT service interface, and then we make this a task. As a task of this user. We put our system.training.task. Yeah. So now what we will now do is we have created user. The value of created user is never used. Identity results. That's what it gives us. Identity results. So we can now say, let's see what we can do. Let's say if created user dot okay dot succeeded. So instead of calling this created user, we can call it results of identity results equals to await user manager dot create is async. So we can now say if identity results dot succeeded she gets. So if he succeeded in creating the user, what we can now do is so if he succeeded, what do we want to do if he succeeded? Okay, maybe we can just log. So we can just do an iLogger stuff. So we can just do iLogger. Do iLogger of auth service. Auth service logger. So what we can now do is iLogger would be imported for the namespace, and then create a field for iLogger. So read-only field, just underscore this guy, and then okay, mapper is shouting to mapper. So underscore that guy. So if he succeeded, we can just say logger and the log. You can say debug or information rather. You can say user created successfully, right? And you want to log the objects, maybe not, just log message. Then if it's succeeded, do this, else, let's do logger dot log. You can just log error and say failed to create user, right? So then at the end of it all, we just return the created user, return whether created or not. If it's not created, to be none. So we just return okay. Let's see, does the identity results have identity result dot errors succeeded. It doesn't have the created user. Okay, so okay. So maybe what we can do is there's so what we can do is our sign up should return a bool, because we can't actually create the return the created user. So we'll just go and return the boolean of true or false if it succeeded or not. So what we can now do is in the interface we just have to make a little tweak, right? Yeah. So it's okay. Then here we'll now return. Here we'll now return if he succeeded. Let's say here we'll have enva is created, and we can initialize it to false, so that if he succeeded, we will just initialize is created, assign is created to true to is created. So we don't even need to do an else, and we'll just return is created. Yeah, and we're good. So that's for sign up. So let's go to our controller and call this guy. So controllers, we now have a controller called auth controller. So add new file. Auth controller. Yes. Class. So these are auth controller extend from controller base. Yeah. And we annotate it with API controller and say route AP, what is it again? So the templates say API forward slash or forward slash API forward slash auth, I guess. Let's see our student controller first. Let me see how I did that. So if it comes to student controller, let's see. So API controller route is API forward slash. So yeah, we'll put the controller placeholder instead of just using auth. Just doing controller. Controller. Is it big C or small c? I think it's small c. Yeah. So in our constructor here, so we can start injecting all these things. We have ilogger, 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 and say auth controller, auth controller, logger. That's generate a field, read only field. You can underscore. So what else do we need? We need the auth service. So we can now say, before we inject it, let's go and add the dependency in our startup.cs. So we'll come to startup.cs and do services dot add scope. Auth service, and we'll replace with auth service. Yeah. So can now go and inject it in our controller. Incident controller. Yeah, this after this, yes, just we'll finish the controller and then we'll. Yes. So auth controller. So we'll just inject I auth service. Auth service. Yeah. So we can just create a read-only field and I'll make this an underscore. Underscore. Yeah. So now we can now create our endpoints. Public async. It's going to be asynchronous because it's calling an asynchronous method in our auth service. So public async task. Yeah, task of iAction results. iAction results, and we need to import task. Then we call it create user. I call it create user. We can call it post user. We can just call it sign up. Let's call it sign up. Let me give it a more of like name. So call it sign up. So give you a route. No, we give it HTTP post. HTTP post. HTTP post. No HTTP post attributes. Oh, so it's an attribute rather. So HTTP post, yeah. Sign up. So this sign up, right now it's complaining. So we just say throw new not implemented. To implement it. So for now, so what we'll do is what's it saying? Saying lacks awaits within it, so we'll do an implementation. So we'll now say try catch. In our try now, we are now saying okay, underscore auth service dot sign up. So this guy is going to get something from the post body. So we'll say from body. Then from body, our sign up. This sign up request. What did I call that thing? Auth service. Okay, sign up request. So sign up request. So for the modules, sign up request. Yeah. So what service does sign up? What's it saying? Okay, so the arguments. So let's see, what arguments does it take? So sign up request. Yeah, sign up request. Yeah. So this guy, we need to await it. And it returns a Boolean result. So we say, let's do a bool is sign is registered or is registered or is created is Registered is registered. Is signed up. Is registered.
True or false? True.
Okay. Default it to false.
That's the default.
So we now say it is registered. Is registered. Okay. It says registered. Yeah. So we get is registered, and we now say if it's registered, right? It's true. If it's registered, is false. So let's say if not is registered. If not is registered, what you should now do is say so if not is registered, you should return bad request. And bad requests within it we have so yeah, there's something I have not spoken about, which is model validation. You get. So there's something we can do, model state validation. Yeah. So we can say within all these guys, let's try and say if model states
Model states.
model states dot is valid. Yeah, you should now do all these guys. Yeah. So if it's not valid, it will return bad request. Yeah. Of model states dot model state dot there's a property that will get us the validation state. Okay, no, later. Yeah. So dot add model error. Is it dot add model error?
What describe it? The what's that what?
That will get the error of the model state. Let's Google something.
Validation something.
Model state error. Yeah. Okay, yeah, model state dot errors. So let's go back to model state dot errors. Let's see. Error. But it's not here. That has model state dots. Validation state. Okay, can just return bad request, but there's a way can return model state errors. Model state. So let's see this guy. This guy is still saying the same thing. Okay. Message. Let's say the values dots. Okay. Okay. What we can do for now, maybe in the next class I'll look into it. So, but what we can do for now is and just return bad requests, and can just say request is not valid. Yeah. So for catch, so if I have an exception, you can just say logger the log error of the string message, which will be say an error um, is system error occurred, and then you can just the exception, yeah. And then you can just return. You can return status code dot status code 500 yeah. Can just say okay, just return status code 500. Then if not is registered, returns badge request also. Say request is not valid. So if I what we can now do is not if it's not registered. Let's say if it's registered, yeah. If it's registered, you should just return OK or return created. Return created, then the URI. For now, we don't have a URI for getting the registered user, so you can just say no for the URI, and the object value can now say the registered user. We don't even have the registered user, so we can't even return created because it doesn't return the user, the registered user. So what we can just do is we can just return OK. For now, maybe in next class, what we'll now do is we'll return from the service, we'll return the user. So we can just return OK. Say user created. Okay. Yeah. So we can just do this. Yeah. And this should be okay. So we'll just get rid of this guy. Just put a breakpoint here. So for here, you can just add required to these guys. Required R imports the data media annotations. Email, password. Let's not say phone number is required for now. So let's just take out phone number. Username, email, and password. So I think that's all. So we just forced to run the controller. Let's see. So username, email, and password. We need Postman. Yeah. So let's create a new endpoint. A new Postman request rather. Call it create user. So you can call HTTP localhost 5001 API or yeah. So this would be a post or JSON. So what we can now do is username, right? Username. So we can just say like then we have password. Then username, password, email. So let's try and post this guy. Let's see. Oh, this is a get. Yeah. So it's a big post. Okay, so I thought to not hit it. Don't reach. So our model state is valid. So let's see the sign up request. I omitted the phone number, so it's not, yeah. So let's see. So let's enter this service sign up. Yeah. So it's created, it's false. Let's see how it maps it. So there's an error in mapping, so we actually need mapping profiles. There's an error. So what's the exception? So let's see the exception. It's an auto mapper configuration exception. So we actually need mapping profiles. So let's quickly set up a profile for the where's auto mapper now? Mapping profile. So we need this guy. So you can say d dot user ID username rather d dot username. Oh, so I think the problem is in is it the request sign up request? So username is small n. So he wasn't able to map it. Username is small n. She gets. He wasn't able to map it.
And
so username with big n. So we can just try and do the mapping. So we just see alt the map from source. So it says source dot username. Yeah. So I think for phone number it should be okay. Username is okay. We are not even passing phone number, so email is also okay. So then also there's something.
The assumption is
Okay. Let's see mapping profile.
random.
Okay. So also the import service in that our create user, we pass in the base user, but we didn't pass in the password, so it's not going to hash it. So let's pass in the password. Sign up, or instead, let's see sign up request the password. Right. So now this is okay. So let's run it again and try it again. Okay, boss one. Yeah, it's gone. So now let's run it again and see if it's close to send it. Okay, that's it. Model state is valid. Try. So let's enter this guy. Okay. So let's see if it maps it. Yeah, it maps it now. We've resolved it. So you have the email. We don't have all these other guys. We have the username. We don't have phone number. So let's see identity results. Said field. So it said password requires non-alphanumeric. So the thing is, by default, there's a default setting in ASP.NET Identity. The password must contain, let me even show you the identity results. So this is the errors. There are 3 errors. So let's see the first one. SEPA also requires non-alphanumeric number, alphanumeric. So it was have one non-alphanumeric, like alphanumeric now is what now?
Alphabet.
At see, then it must have digits. So it must have 1 digit, and it must have one uppercase. Yeah, so that's the default setting for identity password. Next week, I'll show you guys how to configure identity, yes, your own password settings. So for now, we just have to do that. So let's do that. So it gives us a response report. What response did it give us? Okay, request is not valid. So the validation failed. So you can say capital P at SSWRT1. And let's do this. So let's send this guy again. So now it should pass. So going. So let's enter the service or service. So it maps it. Let's see identity results. So now it succeeded. So it has created the user. So if you go to the DB, so if you go to the DB, this is our user DB. So our user table. So now these are created user. Now let's see the password. This is the password hash.
Sure.
Let me copy it and paste it on a file or something. So let me paste the hash somewhere around there. So this is the hash.
That's what it's
generated. Yeah. I don't think that's the complete hash.
What's the longer one?
That's what I think. It should be longer. Let me see. Let me do select query. Select top. It's longer now. It's longer. I think that's where you could cut it up to.
Select. Oh.
Let me see if I paste it here again. Let me see if it will bring out the full one. See the hash. The hash. So I knew it's longer. So that's our password hash. So let's just continue stepping through. So it succeeded, obviously. So just log. User created successfully. Is created is true. And return is created. So now, if it's registered, which is true, it's now return OK. The user created successfully. So it exists the method. So if you continue, so we'll see user created successfully. It has created the user with the hash password. So in the next class, if we will do for the response, instead of saying user created successfully, to bring out the user with the password, hash password, but it's not safe. So I think this is okay. User created successfully is okay. It's not safe to do that. So that's that for today's class. Let me stop the video.